Hi, I'm Lydia Earhart, the Director of Marketing at Mount San Antonio Gardens. Welcome to In the Gardens, our YouTube series that puts you in touch with the resident culture at the gardens. So today we are talking with Cricket Harth. Cricket is an amazing person who's lived at the gardens for a few years, and she's going to share about her background, about Skyspace, that is located in the Claremont Colleges, and also about the wonderful things that makes the gardens unique. Cricket, tell me, first of all, how did you get the name Cricket?
I had a feeling that would come up. It was given to me before I was born. When my mother married or was engaged to a man named John Harth, my grandmother immediately said, this is lore, of course, family lore, said, oh, that's wonderful. If it's a girl, and then Mom got pregnant, if it's a girl, we can call her Cricket, Cricket on the Hearth. Ha, ha, ha. Well, if that happens to you and you grow up with a nickname, you have no perspective on it. So for years and years and years and years, I had no idea how silly people would think that was. And when I became, professionally involved, it was a hard-won lesson because Marjorie, which is my real name, was my mother's name. She had a business in that name, and I really. I didn't want to be called so Marjorie felt like the librarian at my grade school said, I'm going to call you Marjorie because Cricket is not the name for a young girl.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, long story short, we get to I have a brother who, when he was about 6, was taken to see the Disney movie, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. You remember that? Mm-hmm. Well, there's a character, Jiminy Cricket. Mm-hmm. And at one point, Jiminy Cricket comes bouncing out on stage and says, hi, I'm Jiminy Cricket. I'm the cricket on the hearth. And my brother, apparently, according to my mother, stood up in the audience and said as loudly as he could, I get it, I get it, I get it, cricket on the hearth. That's how it happened.
So speaking of your background, tell us a little bit about it and how you came to the gardens too. So your professional background first.
Well, let's see. I grew up in Cincinnati. I went to school in the East. I went to Smith College. I then went to graduate school at I worked at Yale for a year, went graduate school, all of this in art history. Mm. But I had worked in museums as, believe it or not, in grade school and then in high school as a volunteer. When I got to college, I was an art history major, but there was an option to do an exhibition instead of writing a thesis, so I did that. And that began the museum, my fondness for museums, and basically everything kind of followed from there. I entered a graduate program at Michigan that I ended up many, many years later directing and teaching on museum studies, and got a PhD there. At which point, I was called by the dean of Pomona College then, this was 1980, and asking if I'd like to, interview for a job. So I was brought out here from a blizzard in Ann Arbor, Michigan, to spring here.
You were rescued.
Well, it was January, but
Right.
And it was a joint position at Pomona and Scripps colleges, and I was walked around Scripps particularly, and I would be positioned between 2 blooming camellias, and with the mountain with snow on it in the distance. And I remember one of our residents, who's now in the lodge, Kathleen Wicker, was the acting dean at Scripps, and I remember her asking me, so your predecessor taught Baroque art history, could you do that? And I've never no was the answer. And I said, of course.
Can I stop you right there?
Sure.
Because I do want to know a little bit about, if you know about Skyspace.
About what?
Skyspace.
Oh yeah, I do.
So that's a popular exhibit,
right.
A work of art, if you will, from James Turrell, who was a Pomona
A
graduate.
grad, right.
And so a lot of tourists come in and spend time there, right? And you can see it every single day.
Every single day
open
at
to the
sunrise
public.
and sunset.
So
Have you seen it?
I have multiple times.
It's a magical experience, and it's never the same. I retired the year and was followed by Kathleen Howe, who gave a lecture here a couple of weeks ago about the Skyspace. The Skyspace had been, or a sculpture in that space had been talked about when I was still director, and there was a plan for something, a very rough plan. Turrell had been contacted. He was hard to reach and so forth. Anyway, when Kathleen came, she put a lot of energy into that, and it was built, and it's extraordinary.
It is.
It's,
Absolutely.
I mean, it teaches you to. It's about perception. It's about seeing. It's about realizing what you see and how light affects what you see, and it's quite. It's hard to describe.
It is.
In
it
words.
is.
It's a visual kind of coming alive, but there's an aperture in the top, a square aperture, that and each program either begins or ends in the total dark. So if you go to the evening show, and you can see the blue sky. And after a while, if nothing interferes and there are no clouds, that becomes almost a flat plane until a bird flies across or a plane goes by or something, and then you think, oh wait, that's actually open. But as it gets darker and it becomes black up there, you're sure it's solid. You feel that something's been, and then you see a plane go by or something, and it's a kind of constant readjustment of what you're seeing and realizing that your perception is being altered. And it's quite, as I say, I find it hard to reduce to words, but actually Turrell himself said, it's about seeing that you're seeing. Not what you're seeing, that you're seeing.
Right.
So it pushes everything back on yourself, and it's a terrific.
It is.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Claremont area and you don't know about it, go see Skyspace. If you don't know anything about Claremont and are interested in the gardens, go see Skyspace. It's an amazing exhibit. But getting back to how you came to the gardens, can you tell us a little bit about how that happened?
Well, I was very lucky to land at Pomona. And when I did, in the art department, because I had a joint professorial and administrative position, which sounds wonderful, and it's basically two jobs. Pomona and Scripps had, colleagues at Pomona and Scripps, mostly at Pomona where I was based, had a lot of older colleagues who had retired to the gardens. There were a lot of emeritus faculty here, a lot of administrators here. Early on, I met Norm Hines, who later became my husband. He had gone to Pomona, had taught at Pomona, taught ceramics and so forth for years. And he started saying, well, let's go see this couple or that couple, because Herb Smith was the one who found a scholarship for me to get into CGU for art school. So I remember when one of the Pomona presidents I worked under, David Alexander, when he and Catherine moved, I asked him, we became quite close friends, and I asked him how he felt about the gardens, and he said, it's really great, honestly, it's really great, but I'll tell you one thing. He said, you're going to walk in the dining room one evening and you're going to think you're in a faculty meeting, which was a bit of an exaggeration. In fact, these days, it's a huge exaggeration. That intermix of Claremont history, for someone who's been in Claremont for a long time, is really quite wonderful.
It is, and the richness that it brings with so many, so many thought-provoking former professors all in one area too, and like you said, not everyone is a retired faculty member
No,
by
no,
any
not
means.
at all. Not at all.
But what it brings to the gardens is extremely amazing, I think.
I asked a lot of people. I thought I knew the gardens well, but I asked a lot of people, new people, what they thought of the place, and I kept hearing the same words: welcoming, intellectually stimulating, warm, well managed, life care. There were just all of these. Just all of the things you think you want. It's really a wonderful mix of home-like, supportive, loving, compassionate, wonderful care. Oh my Lord, the staff is just wonderful. All trained in a way of caring for elders, which we don't admit we are, but we are.
Tell us a little bit more about that. So this approach is actually called the Eden Alternative.
Correct.
And the Gardens has done a fabulous job. We have 2 certified Eden Alternative educators on campus, and they have taught all of these staff from EVS, environmental services, maintenance, to dining, to marketing. All the staff have been educated on this approach to care. And can you tell us just a little bit about what that means to you as a resident?
Well, it means, and I didn't know about it for a long time. Before knowing about that, I would always have said, the staff are terrific. I mean, they're caring, they're knowledgeable, they go, overboard to be helpful. And this covers, as you say, the whole range. It's housekeepers, gardeners, administrators. I mean, it's the whole culture of the place. And I have been part of what's called the Dementia Awareness Initiative, which is a subcommittee of the Resident Health Services Committee. And we, a couple of years ago, or maybe it was late last year, we had a program in which this program called Eden Alternative we were able to see a training film for people, for those who care for and those who may be dementia, individuals with dementia. And it was very, very impressive. I'm quite overwhelmingly impressive, but I came away with just assuming that Eden Alternative was only dementia. It's not. It's every single person in the gardens. It's every resident and every staff member at every level.
So it's important for those to know who have been looking at the gardens how we follow an approach to not just only caring for the residents, but involvement in their daily life and how we are involved with one another. One question I do have for you, and this is my final question, is what would you tell someone who is maybe hasn't made the transition to the gardens yet and is kind of thinking about it? Was there any moment of advice that you kind of have for that person in that position who's maybe looking but not ready?
It's a good question. I mean, I can't even tell you exactly why I felt that the time was right for me. I mean, it had been building up. My husband died. I was writing a book. There was the pandemic.
Right.
So that whole period, I was isolated. I'd become pretty comfortable in my home alone, but maintenance and and so forth. And I realized that being alone was not wise at my age, even though I was busy and doing something I cared about. I would say that anyone preparing to move should remember that moving is a huge adjustment. I moved from about a quarter mile away, so it's not the distance, but it takes a while. You need to let things settle. You will get a lot of help doing that. You'll get a wonderful welcome, and then you're on your own. I mean, then you decide what you want to do, how you want to live your life here. there are committees, there are people, you don't have to join a committee, there are all kinds of activities. Some are shy about joining, others are gung-ho about everything. But it's like going to a new school or, you know, a new anything environment, but this is so comprehensive. Well, I've never met anyone who doesn't like it here.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me like you're happy here too.
Oh, I'm very happy here. In fact, we used to joke, but going back to when I was at Pomona and visiting older faculty who were here, that we, the younger faculty, never thinking about retirement for ourselves. I mean, I was 30-something, thinking, you know, they're so happy. I mean, how do they do? They're so very happy. And somebody finally said, well, you know, they put something in the water. Oh, well, that would explain.
Which we don't.
No, I didn't believe it at the time. But it was, I mean, people of different disciplines, different temperaments, different everything, and they were just all, when are you coming? When are you going to move? Yeah. So, no, I'm very happy here.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you, Cricket, and happy for you to be a Cricket too, and and speak the truth today on In the Gardens. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.